and we'll get this going. So for those that don't know, I'm Dustin Moody. I'm the athletic director here at Yorktown Middle School. I'm glad that you all could be here for this meeting. These Zoom meetings are not too bad. I kind of enjoy doing them. Makes it a lot easier on everybody, but it's kind of how we're going. So like I said before, those that didn't hear, I am recording this. This will be put up on YouTube after the meeting. So if you missed anything or just want to rewatch because weren't sure what was said, you can watch after once everything is uploaded, put on YouTube. I'll be tweeting that link out. So the first thing I'm going to start with is the concussion protocol. So as many of you are aware, because obviously some of you played football, we have kind of changed our protocol when it comes to how we're doing concussions. So last year we did the impact testing. We decided to not go with that for a few reasons. One of them being that whenever doctors would talk to us about it, they kind of just said that they didn't really use our impact testing numbers when they would go and evaluate concussions. So it kind of seemed like we were doing these tests and really putting a lot of effort into them, and doctors just weren't using them. So what we've decided is we now have Brooke Wagner. She's our corporation nurse. I work closely with her on anybody that has concussion-like symptoms. Anybody that's showing them at a game, we will make sure that they sit for that game, and they will be evaluated afterwards and need to be cleared to resume any athletic participation. So I get that clearance from Brooke. She tells me who can return and when they can return, and that's kind of what we go off of. Now, obviously, she's not the end-all be-all when it comes to any kind of an injury or whatever. Your doctor will obviously, if you get a doctor's note and they we have that works perfectly for clearance. I just make sure that I talk to Brooke with anybody that is out for a medical reason, and then I relate that to the coaches. So she is kind of the one that I go through. I'm obviously not a medical professional, so we just kind of lean on her and make sure that anybody that has anything going on is definitely cleared before they are allowed to go back on the court. So she's who I'll go through. A little different, but I think it worked out really well for football, and I don't anticipate that changing for basketball. Obviously, grades are a big thing here at Yorktown. We expect our athletes to be students first. I personally do the grade checks at each quarter and at each midterm. If an athlete has 2 Fs, they are immediately ineligible for athletics. This means that they are not allowed to participate in any contests and may not travel with the team, but they may practice. So we let them practice, but they can't participate in contests, can't travel with the team. I then recheck the grades in 2 weeks to determine if the athletes can remain or can regain eligibility. So check the grades after 2 weeks. If they are good to go, then obviously we reinstate them. If not, they are out for another 2 weeks, where I then recheck the grades after that. So winter season's kind of long. Oftentimes we can get to that second grade recheck and there's still some season left. Hopefully we don't get there, but that's just a possibility. So to maintain the integrity of the grade checks, I do not allow kids to immediately fix their grade if they are ineligible at the quarter or the midterm. So I check those grades on a certain day, and I don't, if somebody's pinged or whatever, and I tell them, and then they go and hassle the teachers for these 3 late assignments, it's no good for me. I'm not going to recheck then. I wait 2 weeks. The reason being for that is that, well, there's a couple. We don't want to put a lot on the teachers. That's a lot for them. So we kind of make sure that, there's integrity there. And we also don't want the kids to think that they, shouldn't worry about their grades all the time. So we want them to maintain those good grades, not just get them up when there's some type of consequence. So I don't automatically, fix any of those situations. I wait the 2 weeks and then I recheck. So that's kind of what we have on grades. When it comes to playing time with Coach Karcher and Coach Turner, I just kind of defer to them. So in middle school, we are certainly still in a developmental level, but we are also setting out to win contests. There's no doubt about we're trying to be competitive. So coaches are in charge of playing time and have my full support on that. If there are any questions about playing time, we would really like for the athletes to be the ones to advocate for themselves. Both coaches are very approachable, and if players have questions, they can go talk to the coaches and get answers from them. That's what we would prefer to happen, because these kids really do need to start advocating for themselves and just having those conversations. So we would like for that to be the way that this starts, obviously. But if you ever have any questions or concerns, you're encouraged to contact the coaches or myself. Once again, like if you just have something that you need to contact us for, don't hesitate to do that. We just want the kids to have those conversations about their performance. We want them to hear the reasoning as to why they're not getting the playing time that they feel like they should have, so they can make those improvements and get out on the court. So when we talk conduct, we stress to our athletes that when they put on their uniforms, they are representing Yorktown. They should take pride in that and be exemplary competitors, as well as show exemplary sportsmanship. The hope is that our adults can help to model this behavior. So please remember that our kids are always trying their best, and the goal of the fans should always be to cheer on all kids who are competing. In the same vein, please remember that all officials are community members who are deeply invested in the growth of your children. We do pay them, but it isn't a ridiculous amount, and they are officiating because they enjoy it and should be treated with respect. So that's pretty self-explanatory. Just make sure we're always being respectful, being positive. On to some changes that we've made this year. Obviously, there's been some changes due to the COVID circumstances. First, we do have guidelines in place from the DOE, and they are expected to be followed. So we have the masks and we have the sanitizer rules and the things like that I put down to the coaches and they are enforcing. So, obviously we're not wearing masks while we're playing, but kids are expected to have masks on when they're on the bench, as are the fans are expected to have masks on when they're in the stands. So it is a little bizarre. A lot of the teams kind of figured that out and adjusted pretty well in the fall. And I don't see why that can't happen in the winter as well. So we do still have the masks. We're hand sanitizing and doing all that, trying to distance as much as possible to kind of keep this under wraps. So we also have many procedures set in place for tracing purposes this year as well, such as bus seating charts and different group practice guidelines. Many of you won't see those, but please continue to encourage your athlete to adhere to these guidelines. Obviously, looking at how the fall went, we did a decent job. There are some things that, we probably could have done better, but, it's getting to that point where, if one of these kids on the team tests positive, that could really wreck a couple weeks of the season. I myself was a close contact and I had to be out for 2 weeks. And, if that happens on a team and they're close contact because they're practicing every day, that's going to be a tough one for us. So just try to be as careful as you can. Obviously, you can't stop everything, but that's kind of what we're trying to push here. The fan experience and attendance. So at this moment, we're limited to 500 fans at our events. 500 people, I'm sorry, not 500 fans. So it's a little up from what we had in the fall, but, we're still limiting. So that includes the players and officials. So I have to make those calculations before, and then that kind of determines how many tickets we have available. So we can sell up to 500 for events, which I don't think we're going to reach for very many of them, but it's possible. So there might be times when, we have a lot of people in the gym and we had a certain amount of tickets up to 500. And if we run out, then we're done. We are not selling more tickets, and we're going to have to, tell some people that they can't come in. Like I said, I don't anticipate that happening with basketball. It might happen with some wrestling, but you just never know. So you can't ever say that people aren't going to show up. So that's just kind of where we're at. Like I said, I don't anticipate it being a huge issue, but we just got to have those in place. We're not going to hold tickets for people this year, so you can't call in at 3 and say, hey, I'm going to have 4 people hold these tickets. We're not going to do that. And then also we don't have sports passes this year. So that's a bit of a change. With concessions, we are going to have a concession stand. It's going to be pretty limited. We have prepackaged food and drinks, so you're going to have your candies, you're going to have your pops and waters, but we're not doing the popcorn, which is rough, and obviously no hot dogs, and we're not doing the nacho cheese that goes straight into your veins from the little push button up there. So that won't be there, but we'll still have some things for you. So, and then when it comes to seating, we're going to encourage social distancing as much as possible. Obviously, sitting with family units is the best case scenario, and trying to stay as far away from people as possible, just to make sure we're safe. There's X's that are going to be marked on the bleachers, and we'd like for those to be adhered to, but obviously I don't plan on walking up into the bleachers and policing that, because I have other things I have to do. So that's going to be in place. And then obviously the masks are still going to be required at events. I don't want to have to police masks. And I'm not going to go up and, get into an argument with somebody, but people are going to be eating and drinking in the stands, and understand, moving masks down to do that stuff is fine. We'd just like for you to adhere to those guidelines as best as you can, so we can, make it through this season, not have any road bumps. So all of that said, I know that the coaches have sent some information to you, and if they haven't yet, they will be very soon. Coach Turner obviously can't be here right now because he's going to practice. Had to have that changed due to the voting thing. We were pretty lucky to get that, but we're kind of rolling with the punches. Obviously, Coach Karcher is he sent out some information, he told me, and you all have that, but I want to open it up to Coach Karcher if he has anything that he wants to say. Coach?
Hi, everybody. I don't think I've gotten to meet everyone yet. I look forward to the season. I did want to let everybody know that the initial email that I sent out, I know that was just to probably one parent, and I am trying to, I have the list. Mr. Bert Holder, Jason sent me his contact list from last year, so I have all emails and phone numbers now. I was just trying to get that quick reminder out for everyone about the Zoom meeting here tonight. I also sent out and gave the boys a contact paper that has all my contacts on it, and then just some stuff that really reiterates a lot of what Mr. Moody was saying, and then more basketball specific on the other side about some specific things that Coach Moulton wants us to work on. So, feel free, if you have any questions about any of those things, to ask or shoot me an email. A text message I did put on there would be preferred. That would be best. But I don't really have much more to add, other than, we're going to keep working hard, try to make it through the season and get better at basketball. So hopefully that all happens.
I have a question for you. This is Shannon Powers, Patrick's mom.
Yeah.
Do you need any help with the clock, or if you need any help, I'm available.
Okay.
He's a professional too after football season. So
good.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I do typically, yes, I will need help with the clock, and I will need help with the book. So any parents that would be interested in helping out with that, it would be greatly appreciated. I do know, last year I had a couple of parents that did it most of the time. And if there are a couple people that want to switch, or if one's not available, that's the best. If everyone wants a turn, I have no problem doing that either. But usually it seems like if I can get a couple, that would be greatly appreciated. So I will put you down for that.
Sounds good. I can do home game, the home game. So the clock, that's fine.
Okay.
So.
All right. Thank you.
does anybody else have any questions? If you do, you can just unmute yourself and ask away. All right. It doesn't look like anybody has any. And like I said, if you do later on, you think of something or you just want to ask it not in the group, totally fine. You can email myself or Coach Karcher, Coach Turner, and we'll definitely get back with you. But I did want to thank you all for showing up. This will be put up on YouTube. Probably the link will be shared tomorrow afternoon if you want to go back and watch it, or if there are people that missed the meeting here, want to go back and watch, they can watch as well. So once again, thanks, and I'll see you all this season.
All right. Thank you, everybody.